Hi, my name is Alexander. This is the second video related to the communication between Angular component and RESTful API with .NET Core. In this video, by using Angular 17, we will create Angular application which will use RESTful API service CRUD methods to create, read, update, and delete the records in the customers table in SQL Server store database. Under the directory C work code samples, let's create new Angular project. Let's go to a project directory and check Angular, Node.js, and Typescript versions. Current project uses Angular 17 version, Node 20.9.0 version, Typescript 5.4.5 version. Try to compile and check that project works. For this, go to Visual Studio Code, open new terminal, npm start. Open localhost 4200. Project compiles successfully and works. In our project, we will use HTTP client service to make HTTP request to .NET Core API, and will use ng-module directive for the input element in application component view to bind the view into the module. For this, we have to import HTTP client module and forms module into the application module. Now I will change the contents of the files with my code. Application component.ts, application component HTML, application component.css, and add class customer.ts. The class has a property names the same as the customers table in SQL database. Let's check that we can compile an application and start it. Compiled successfully, and in a browser we have the customers form. This form we have created in app.component.html file. Each table row contains 3 columns: for label, input, and button. Under the input element, we use ng-module directive to implement two-way binding for these customer fields: customer ID, customer name, created date. In the two-way binding, changing the module's value in the component class sets the value in the view, as well as changing value in the view always sets the value in the module. Customer type ID as well as state are selected from the drop-down lists. For the simplicity, I put the lists of values in the arrays instead of database tables. For the US states, we have 2 arrays because user selects states from the state names list, but HTTP request contains only states abbreviation, which is saved in the SQL Server database. I have to put your attention, then in the code we receive customer type ID select element and state select element based on their IDs, customer type and state, using document.getElementById method, which by default returns the element of type HTML element. In order to get HTML select element, we have to cast HTML element to HTML select element by appending as HTML select element after getElementById methods. If we will not do it, we will receive base HTML element type, which does not have selected index property, which we use to show required item in a customer's form from the drop-down list. So do not forget explicitly cast base HTML element type returned by getElementById method to a required HTML type. On the bottom of app.component.html file we have a text area where we write the status for each request or error message, and div tag with ID ctab which is a placeholder for the list of customers. Under this element, we will dynamically create the table containing customer list. For the communication with API on the server side, we use HTTP client service. The appropriate request is executed by button click. When starts, every method checks connection with the server using private method check connection and print server is down in a query status text area in a case when a server is unavailable. The parameters for the methods are transferred in the following ways. Customer ID parameter for the methods getCustomer and deleteCustomer is transferred to the HTTP param object. The customer object for the methods updateCustomer and postCustomer is stringified and sent to the server side via HTTP headers objects. The response for the requests getCustomerList and getCustomer we receive as a stringified object which we parse into the response object. For other methods, updateCustomer, postCustomer, deleteCustomer, the response represents a string object. For the requests which return data from the server side, it is getCustomerList and getCustomer. The response object can contain the requested data or object with error message property if any error happened on the server side. Therefore, at first we check the response object. Does it contain error message property? And if it does, the query status text area is updated with the error message. If the response object contains data, for getCustomer request, the customer's data appears in the customer's form. For getCustomerList request, the customer's list appears below the form customers. In this case, we dynamically determine the field names of the customer object in the customer list and dynamically create the table containing the list of customers, where each table row contains values for all customers fields. All other methods, updateCustomer, addCustomer, deleteCustomer, return in a response object only status or error message of the request, and query status text area is updated with the request status or with the error message. Empty form button cleans up the form and removes the customer list if it exists. Let's check our Angular application. Let's start server-side application for the .NET RESTful API that we created in a previous video. The port is 7183. Check what port is used by our Angular application and change it if required. Compile and start Angular application. Start in a browser. Check every method. getCustomerList, getCustomer. The fields of the customer form have been updated with the data for the Steve Smith. updateCustomer. The customer with the customer ID 40 has been successfully updated. deleteCustomer. Customer 40 has been deleted. addCustomer. Customer Steve Smith is added. Empty form. getCustomerList. Everything works. Check the server connection method. For this, stop server-side application to simulate the server is down. Try to get customer. After several seconds, in a query status box, we see server is down. Empty form. Try to update customer. Server is down. Empty form. Try to add customer. Server is down. Empty form. deleteCustomer. Server is down. Empty form. getCustomerList. Server is down. Empty form. So we created Angular application which communicates with server-side .NET Core API using HTTP client service. That's it what I wanted to show you in this video. The source code is located under the GitHub. The URL is indicated in the video description. In the next video, we will add NGRX state management for our Angular application. Thank you for watching, subscribe to my channel, and have a good day.